Good morning. In 2001, I came the first time to the United States. Somehow I ended up in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And my teacher was Father John Bowe. He was 83 years old, a Theatine, very wise man, very loved and respected by many. He was consecrating, celebrating the Mass. He loved his youth group and the kids. He used to play for them. Recorded something that many generations now do not know, a tape for his kids. And he was celebrating Mass when he broke the host, a big one. A big chunk jumped off on the side. And we were just looking at, like in slow motion, how that big chunk jumped and went like this. We all followed. Then he turned back his side to us and said, "He is alive." So simple, and how he fixed that with just a simple comment. I wish I have his commitment, his love, and his faith. Today, somehow, that's what his friends, Jesus' friends, asked of him. Increase our faith, Lord. When we think about our faith and the faith of his disciples, it is hard to think that we have enough faith. The situation with Peter, I remember one passage of the scripture when Peter, after realizing at the lake of Tiberias that it was the Lord walking on water, and the Lord invites him to go towards him, he does. He goes, but he doubts, and he starts sinking. It's a very symbolic situation there. And I say symbolic because this scene really represents not only to walk on water, but an invitation that Jesus is making to Peter to follow him and embrace Jesus' lifestyle, his choice for this world, the mission that he came with faith to embrace what Jesus was proposing for him to do. It is hard. And he knows, Peter tries, and he denies the Lord too. So he sinks. The Lord gives us his hand like he did with Peter. But it is truly about faith. He hesitates as we do too. Then we may have a question about that. Can faith really increase or decrease? Since they're asking him to increase their faith, can our faith increase or be decreased? That's a good question. Depends on what we understand about faith. If we think that faith, it is the adhering of our reason and our freedom to the truth of who Jesus is, all the mysteries together that we profess about him, then we can say that faith cannot increase or decrease. We believe that. It's either you believe it or not. We can see it in the opposite way with an atheist who just does not believe that, period. It's not that he has a little faith. No, he just does not have it at all. So when it comes about that, about the truth that we adhere with our reason, it does not increase or decrease. It is what it is. And we also use the word faith many times to refer to religion. Oh, faith in the United States from 1965, 55 increased or decreased. We use that to refer to religious groups too, faith-based communities. Our Christian faith, we use that as a general profession of religion, in this case Christian. And also we use that as an external manifestation of religiosity, which does not mean that faith could be greater or lesser. Not because you have a bigger cross, 3-pound cross on your chest means that you have more faith. Or the opposite, not because you have a tiny cross on your chest or just a minute there disguised means that you have little faith. We cannot say that faith depends on external things that we use, wearing a crucifix or whatever. So what is really faith according to this context that Jesus is telling his friends? Faith, first and foremost, it is our free adhering with our reason to God's project of life and salvation in Jesus Christ, which is loving him in what he wants to do for all of us. And in loving him, we mean that our trust and our hope is in him. We love him no matter what. That is our faith. It is a free act of love. And that love, yes, can increase or decrease depending on us. Because we see that when we have a couple who just got married. Oh my gosh, they're all honey and love. Oh, I love that man some. I love that girl. Wait 50 years after and ask him the same question. So it increases or decreases. We can say, well, we still love him, we still love her. So it depends on us. It is interesting because when Jesus is asked by his friends to increase faith, he does not answer straight. It seems like he's not giving them an answer. He responds to his friends' request because what they're really asking is, Lord, increase a little more this little faith we have. Faith, it is an act of freedom. We decide how much we love him. We decide how much we can commit ourselves. It is not like this girl who used to work at my house with my mom, Maina. My mom noticed with her age, she knew 3 daughters. Maina, are you pregnant? And she said, poquito. Just a little. You cannot just be a little pregnant or you're just pregnant or not. It's not like that. It's not like that in faith. Well, what we're invited to do in here, we decide how much we can embrace this project of love that Jesus presents to us. Proof of that is that many people admire Jesus. You know, we have many philosophers, and Mahatma Gandhi admired Jesus, but didn't believe in him like we do. So many also have external expressions of faith, we say, piety. However, that does not tell us, or does not show how big is the faith. You can just dress in any way you want to, but it doesn't mean that we have complete devotion and complete love to the Lord. It doesn't say how big or how small is our faith. More realistic examples are in the saints who truly love the Lord to the point that they died for that love. We have St. Maximilian Kolbe, who was ready to trade his life for love. He loved the Lord that he was ready to give his life, and he did for another person. That is what we admire in the saints, what we see in them. So, conclusion about this, it is not the Lord who increases or decreases our faith if we understand that faith as love. Our commitment, our trust and hope in him, it is us, like the saints did, who can increase or decrease how much we love the Lord. So instead of responding them directly, he gives them an example with parables. First, he tells them, if you have faith the size of that famous mustard seed, you would say this sycamore tree, or mulberry, or whatever tree, be uprooted and be planted in the sea, which means the impossible will happen. If you really have faith, the impossible will happen. Peace in the world will be possible. If you embrace Jesus' project of salvation for all, yes, forgiveness can happen. The unfaithfulness can happen, and we can forgive because Jesus is teaching me, inspiring me to embrace his way of life and forgive, and that miracle will happen right there when we forgive each other. Many of the realities that we find difficult would truly happen in a good way. So he uses in here 2 images, one of the servant and one of the master, to respond. And at the beginning, it seems like it makes no sense when he uses this as a parable, as a response to what they asked him to do. Why? First, we should consider that this is not about social justice. The parable is not about social justice, to say a servant, a master, no. Jesus talks about the roles of servants and masters as examples of logical concepts that do not change. A servant is a servant and serves. A master is served. Different roles. We understand that. And he questions them. Do you think that a master will come and serve the servant? No. So he's making them to conclude that these roles do not change. The nature of the servant is to serve, and the nature of the master is to be served by the servant. Also, on the other hand, some people may think that this parable is referred to God as the master, that we have to serve. Not in this case. We know that many scriptural passages, when Jesus introduces the Father serving his children with love, he himself said about himself, I have come not to be served, but to serve. And thus I wash your feet. Do you understand this? He says, blessed are those servants when their master arrives and finds them doing what they're supposed to do. He will have them recline at table and start waiting on them. The servant master, different. So what does this mean? Whoever follows Jesus must be aware of the identity that we have. A disciple is a servant. It is in our nature, and that nature is shared with us by the Lord. The true master, though, when we realize this, is it God? And Jesus tells us, no, you get it all wrong. The true master of any disciple that is a servant is your brother and your sister in need. The poor. Those are the servants that can even dictate how much we should give, not even asking for it. God serves the poor. He invites us to do the same. Again, this nature comes from him, the servant of all. So the answer is getting closer to what they should understand, and us too. Let's keep in mind that in this case, the opposite of love, it is not hate. In this very case, in the parable that we heard today, the opposite of love is domination. Because this world presents to you and to me the possibility not to be a servant, but to be a master. We love being served. And Jesus is inviting us as followers, disciples, Christians, to serve our brothers and sisters. That's when it makes more sense, little by little. No one wants to wash our brothers and sisters' feet. Maybe during the celebration on Holy Thursday, but that's it. That's the most we'll do, symbolically, but not really. The third point that the Lord makes to them, it is, do we need recognition for doing what we're supposed to do according to our nature? If we are servants, it is in our nature, just like the one who created is a servant of all. Do we need recognition for this? Do we, oh, good boy, you did so good. Do we have to be paid when we serve the poor? Do we need a plaque or a star in our forehead when we serve, when we're just doing what we're supposed to do? I remember in this, I was thinking about my Aunt Mila Basto Ceballos, my mom's sister. In my hometown, we have a 400-year-old church with big towers, and the towers have 4 speakers, trumpet-like speakers. Do you picture those ones, the old ones? North, south, west, east, big trumpet-like speakers connected to the sound system, big microphone. So whenever there was a collection for something they wanted to do in church, the ladies will go door by door asking the people to help, to give money for that fundraiser. And people will give the money, and they will write down the name and the amount. And after the whole day with their umbrellas and the heat of the Yucatan, they will go and sit down behind that big microphone and started reading how much and who gave. My aunt will give 40 pesos in tens. So her name will be mentioned 4 times. We love that. I love to be recognized for the good I do. And the Lord tells us, no, we are unprofitable servants. When we serve according to what we are supposed to do, we should not picture God as the boss that at the end of the day he's paying us for being good and for doing what we're supposed to do. He tells us, when you have done all you have been commanded, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done what we are obliged to do. No strings attached. Now we understand what the Lord meant in not responding to his friends. He didn't say, hey, here, get a little faith. No, he said, serve, love, understand who do you have to serve and why you have to do that. Then he tells us about faith. Then we understand what faith is. In a way that we did not expect. Our faith in this dimension will increase when we realize that your mission and mine as Christians is to serve one another and make extraordinary miracles happen by loving him and our brothers and sisters. We're loving him who we cannot see through our brothers and sisters whom we can actually see. Only in this way we can say that our faith is great or weak, increased or decreased, depending on how much you and I serve, how much you and I love one another. That is our faith, loving the Lord, and that's what he teaches us in every homily that we follow. Amen. Please stand.